So the reigning Wimbledon and Cincinnati champion Iga Swiatek returns with the first match of the U.S. Open on Ash. I think it was a little bit of an earlier start this match than it was yesterday on Ash. Today started at 11:30 as opposed to noon. But regardless, she gets it done 6-1, 6-2 in exactly 60 minutes. Easy, light work for Iga Swiatek, who's the number 2 player, I think, entering the U.S. Open, surprisingly enough. And yeah, look, Iga, the arc that she's on and the redemption, I say redemption for somebody who's won 6 slams, 5 slams before this redemption, but after 2024 Roland Garros, Iga did not make a final until Bad Homburg in 2025 and didn't win a trophy from Roland Garros 2024 to Wimbledon 2025. Wimbledon 2025 was her first title in over a year. For somebody who spent many weeks as the number 1 player in the world and as the most promising young player and statistically the best player since Serena Williams, it is shocking that she went this long without collecting any more hardware. But it was a bad run of form. She had a poor U.S. Open last year, from, Shanghai to Paris to the WTA finals to Australia earlier in the year, even Roland Garros earlier this year, where she did pretty well, but then got destroyed by Aryna Sabalenka in that third set at Roland Garros. She was not playing well. But then at Wimbledon, she blitzed through that tournament and absolutely destroyed the final. 6-love, 6-love. Are you kidding me? And Anisimova stood absolutely no chance. It was insane. But regardless, she comes back. She won Cincinnati in very convincing fashion in the final, and then she comes back here and destroys Emiliana Arango, right? Young Colombian player. And just light work. Not much to say from it. Iga looked exactly like she should have looked like, and she looked like she was playing against a player that she is significantly better than. This is what you're supposed to do against players that you're way better than, and you're way better than, and that's exactly what Iga was able to do. She only had 1 ace in the match, but she served pretty well. 85% win percentage on first serve. When she got her first serve in, you just knew she was going to get the point. Emiliana was not returning well at all. I don't even think, how many breaks? She didn't face a single break point, Iga. Iga didn't face a single break point throughout the entire match. And Iga broke Emiliana 4 times, and that pretty much set up the match. It's like, GG, you're not doing anything there. 77 win percentage on second serve. She was serving very well, finding her spots on both the deuce court and both the ad court, serving out wide, but also down the tee. Iga is just so accurate. That's the thing that distincts her. She's not the most athletic like a Coco Gauff, and she's not as powerful as Sabalenka, but she's just accurate and has great footwork and great speed and just does all the technical stuff well, even though she isn't the freakish athlete that those other 2 players are. And that's why she was able to be the most successful player since Serena Williams and win 6 Grand Slams now, looking for a 7th here at the U.S. Open. 3 double faults, some mistakes happened, no big deal, but regardless, Iga blitzed through her, and it really just makes us think about what everything else looks like. Now, she did play in the mixed doubles. She played in the mixed doubles with Casper Ruud earlier, and they made it all the way to the final, where they lost against 2, I guess, more double specialists, and Irani and Vavasori, the 2 Italians. Look, I have my issues with the mixed doubles. Sure, it was entertaining because we got to see some of the best players play in a tournament like that. Usually mixed doubles in general, but especially mixed doubles, is kind of a lull at Grand Slams. So maybe it's nice we got to see the best players play. But that was basically an exhibition with no ad scoring. And no ad scoring. And the matches were to 4. Up until the final, they were to 4 each set. Sorry. It was ridiculous. It was just a way for us to see the best players play, and they got a massive prize money payout out of it. But I think it's kind of disrespectful to some of the best doubles players in the world to say, hey, we're going to take you out and we're going to fill in some of the most entertaining singles players because we know that'll make us more money. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. But regardless, Iga for the rest of this, look, she looks sharp. She looks as good as ever. Coming off of Wimbledon and Cincinnati, she looks like the best player in the world. Sabalenka is struggling majorly. And even though Sabalenka has an insane lead in terms of world number 1 rankings, and she'll keep that after this tournament no matter what, probably until the end of the year. But Iga is by far in the best run of form. Coco's been in a poor run of form. She'll play tonight. Let's see how she plays. Sabalenka, like I said, we don't know about that. Other than that, Pegula, Navarro, I don't know. We saw Madison Keys lost earlier in the tournament, but Navarro won her first matchup on what court was that on? That was on Grandstand. Yeah, it makes sense. It was on Grandstand since it was an American player. And who else do we see as major threats to Iga? We got Jessica Pegula. She won her first match on Ash on Sunday just after Novak went, if I recall. But Iga is by far the favorite to win the U.S. Open. And she has the easiest path, I believe, to win the Open, considering how well she's been playing. And it doesn't look like her draw is that difficult for her. So I'm very entertained how that's going to go out. But well done by Iga. She played exceptionally. She did exactly what she needed to do. No fluff, no bum around, wasting time like maybe you see in some other matches where a player gets a little bit too comfortable early in the match. Iga didn't do that. She's trying to finish people off and get to the next round as quickly as possible. That's what I like about Iga. She's just relentless, and she doesn't seem to be, off her game right now in the way that she had. It was so weird to explain how she had been off her game, especially with how consistent she had been prior to that. But in sport like tennis, where a season's 11 months and you go through maybe some nagging injuries you don't tell people about and other stuff, who knows what could have happened. But regardless, Iga's through, and let's see what she could do next, because right now, I'm having as much fun watching her as any women's player in the world, because she is so good and so much better than her opposition right now, and it's just beautiful to watch.